And as I trained agents to be in place of me, like when I wanted to replace myself in production and I had to have someone go do exactly what I do, I had to unpack what am I doing and what is the principle that I could teach somebody. And it took me forever to do that. It was really hard to do that, but there was a process I was following that worked more times than not. And so if you do the right steps in the right order and you're able to establish that trust, and there's things you can do. Like I used to, we had the magazine tear sheet, right? So like when I was really young, when I was a kid, I was calling FSBOs. The first FSBO that ever said yes. I'll never forget this. I was competing against Pam Marion, who was she wasn't number one in Remax at the time, but she ultimately became my number one competitor, sold 750 homes a year. I had to compete against her every day. Still like my arch nemesis to this day. They listed the house with me, and I always did an autopsy. So if I didn't win a listing, I would call them and I would say, hey, why didn't, I saw you listed with so-and-so, tell me what, and I would learn something. They would tell me something I didn't know, something the other agent had did or said. And they helped me kind of change what I would do so I wouldn't lose again. And, I had this magazine tear sheet. I paid like $4,000. They did this story and I printed it out. I didn't know what to do with it. So I was like, hey, this is a good bathroom reading material, and I sat it on the table. And so you can read that later if you want to. And I looked at them, looked down at this magazine that I'm on the cover of, looked back up at me and treat me completely different, like completely different. I was like, wow. Yeah. Now, at the time, I didn't realize what actually was happening. It was that when you understand how people come to trust, you can deliberately manufacture ways to generate that trust. And when people see that you're on the cover of a book, a cover of a magazine, you're speaking on stage, that is in their brain, they're going, oh, that this person knows what they're doing. They're good at what they do, or they wouldn't be speaking about it, or they wouldn't be on a magazine, or they wouldn't be on a book. They wouldn't have wrote a book. Right. So, but I didn't know at the time that I didn't understand that the principle there was it was creating authority for me. But I saw it in the moment, right? Like I saw how they were treating me different. I was like, that thing's pretty cool. There's something going on here. And so, they ended up listening with me. But these are things that you do in the process to establish trust without trying to sell people on how great you are. Because anything you tell somebody is devalued because you're the one saying it, right? And so you have to find ways to do that prior to your arrival. And then you have to demonstrate that in order to build the trust. That's the process I always use. Yeah. You don't win them all, but you certainly have a better chance of winning following that process than not.
It's interesting. There was a dentist, a very prominent dentist a long time ago. And I say a long time ago, probably 6-7 years ago, that this study came out. And what they figured out was that, they were getting all these no-shows for people, not showing up to the appointments in the dentist office. And what they started doing is they started having the appointment setters for the dentist would state the authority of the dentist. And they'd say, man, I'm shocked I was even able to get in to see Dr. J because, dude, let me tell you, he is so busy. He's doing national lectures all the time on, dentistry to other dentists, teaching them how to use the latest techniques and how to make sure that they're getting the best outcomes for their patients. And man, I'm just glad I was even able to move some stuff on his schedule to make it possible for you to see him. Yep. So make sure you're on time because his time will be limited on what he can spend directly with you. And so what happened was their show-up rates went through the roof when they started stating the authority of the dentist ahead of time. And I agree with you. Any third-party endorsement of that is great. Another thing that we do is what do you send out? Like, you get an appointment, do you send out something to state your authority? Are you sending them a copy of that magazine? Are you making sure that you're now targeting them on social media so they're seeing stuff? So they're seeing you in front of a large audience, for example. Now, there's so many ways that you can enhance that authority. Now, I don't want to
I know in my garage, I have what I call my shock and awe box. I just saw the crate was in there, and I had a bunch of old stuff that I brought back from Thanksgiving to the house, and it's in this crate in there. We call it our shock and awe box.
What's in it?
So it's all branding, right? So it's testimonial. I mean, you can never have too many testimonials. If you sold 10 houses in your life, 10 testimonials, right? So, it's specific, right? When my house expired, I didn't know why it didn't sell. I hired Jay, he sold it in X number of days at X price, right? Like very specific to the type of customer. So our expired box that went out, our shock and awe box, was filled with testimonials of people that had been through their situation, right? And so over time, you can collect those, right? So like that for me, because I called a ton of expireds, I had a ton of, I would run full newspaper testimonials, and I had an agent in my marketplace call me one time and she was distraught that I had run this ad because everybody knew she had the listing before. Nobody knew, nobody cared. But I just really, it just looks bad on me. I'm like, well, you should have sold it. I don't know what to tell you. I sold it. You had it listed. I listed it at the exact same price, and I sold it. And we had 3 offers in 3 weeks. Maybe I got lucky. Granted, that might be the case, but it's not going to stop me from telling the story, right? So but she was mad, and so I found out. The only reason I found out because she did call me. And she was very upset about it. And I was like, it's not personal. I said, it's just the truth. I mean, this is what happened. So what do you want me to do? Just not tell that story? It's a great story. If you sell, I'm sure I'm going to have an expired listing you're going to pick up and you're going to sell. And, you should tell that story.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I pull up to a pit stop oil change place in Lawton, Oklahoma. And I know most of the people. My cousin ran a place like that. So I kind of knew a bunch of the people in that world or whatever. And they're like, Mr. Kinder, we're sorry, we're not allowed to service your vehicle. I said, what? Why? They said, well, this is Linda Parker's husband's owns all the pit stops in town. And they said that we're not allowed to service your vehicles anymore. That's how much she was pissed off at.
No way.
Yeah. So I had to go somewhere else to get my oil changed.
Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.